this section here, I'm going to do a really large leaf just to show you another design that I've done on quilts where I fill in the leaf with a herringbone design, which looks very intense, but it's not that hard to do. So I'm just going to outline my leaf. So the herringbone is a back and forth line stitch, and you want it to be on an angle if we're doing it on a leaf. And I'm not going to draw a spine, but I'm going to imagine that there is a spine there. So again, if you wanted to mark something like this just to have a guideline, we could do that, but I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm just going to go back and forth on an angle, and we'll see if I can hit my imaginary line as accurately as possible. So with this herringbone design, you can use, again, your foot as the guide for the spacing, and it's not going to be perfect. I do mine fairly quickly, so if you want it really straight, you can even use rulers. Again, I don't worry about it so much. When it's all done, I like the organic look, but there's certainly a place for making it very symmetrical, again, depending on the style of your quilt. So this is how we're going to fill this in. Just going to go up here like this, and back. And I'm going to be mindful of where my imaginary spine is so that they're not all going to be exactly at the same point, because I'm going to have kind of an angled midsection there. That one was a little bit too long maybe, but the spine area could be curvy too. On a leaf, often that vein line is not perfectly straight. So I'm going to have to get smaller, not closer together, but shorter. Slow down just a little bit. Okay. Now, this is maybe going to be kind of tricky depending on how you prefer to stitch, because we obviously want these lines coming down on this angle. So I'm going to be going at a different angle than I was before, but we're just going to go with it, and if it doesn't work, then you're going to see it live. Normally, I would not have that much of a space in between there. This is what happens on live video when you're talking and quilting. So I have options here. I can definitely fill that space in. Ideally, I would not want to have the space to fill in, but if I do, nobody has to know that I didn't intend it to be that way. I'm telling you that I didn't intend it to be that way on this video, but if I was quilting this and it turned out this way, I would not pick all this out, obviously. I would fix it, and nobody would really know that I meant it to be any other way. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to kind of do a curvy spine up in through here to the end, and then I'm going to come back down and make it really heavy with thread. Travel along, and there we go. That looks way better than having that open space there. So again, this is not my ideal quilted leaf with the herringbone, but I definitely would leave that in the quilt if it turned out that way. And so some days it's going to turn out really great. Other days you're going to have to fudge it a little bit, and that's okay. Some days are better quilting days than others. But now I'm going to echo it, and it just makes everything so much better. And you can see that in the end, it's still a beautiful leaf. Even though I had to fudge this part, even though my echoes were not perfectly even. When you get to a point and you see something that isn't quite what you want it to be, instead of thinking, oh, I've got to pick that out and fix it, think more creatively, how can I fill in that space now? Or how can I add more thread to this design to make it something that I'm happy with? Because that's a lot more fun, and you learn a lot more doing it that way than you do by picking out the stitching and trying to get it to where it's absolutely perfect. This kind of stitching pattern would take forever to pick out. I am never picking that out. I will always adapt something in the design to make it work for me, and this works for me. I'm happy with that leaf. So that's just one more option for filling in a leaf. Here's the ones from the other video, and I would definitely combine these. If I wanted to expand and put more leaves onto this motif, I might fill them with the herringbone. Sometimes when I'm doing them, I will do all the leaves in a section with the same filler. Sometimes they're all different. Again, it's all about what mood I'm in when I'm quilting and what is the style of the quilt and what does the quilt call for. Is it more formal? Is it more whimsical? Is it a nature background quilt? Is it a fancy white whole cloth quilt? Learn to adapt these things to the style of quilting that you're doing, and you develop your own style, because everybody has their own style, and that's perfectly okay. That's the way it should be. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be back to show you some fillers for the background of this sample.